Good morning, everybody. We're here with Liz Cross. How you doing today, Liz?
I am so grateful for your health advice. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. All right, so we're going to do a listener probe today. Actually, we're going to do a few listener probes today, but the first one we're going to do is for the mind wipe. So we've taken some questions on the Patreon, and if you guys aren't members with us, we're going to make this a two-part video as we've been doing. So half the video will be for the public and half will be for our Discord and Patreon members. So you're not seeing not even half of the videos that we release. Really, the quantity of videos that we release, you could have, Liz Cross psychic content for, it's the entire network. It's really like a network television show because we have so much content. You could watch it for the entire month, I think, and get your entertainment in and valuable information all in one spot if you wanted to. So how do they do that, Liz?
They go to patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond. Now, listen, I can't control the way Patreon lists the tiers, but you have to extend all the tiers, and there is one open. Those cheap tier prices were introductory, and those were from like 3 years ago, if not 4 years ago. Those will never reopen. Patreon makes you structure it in such a way that when a tier gets full, you have to go up to the next price point, right? So there is a tier open. It's roughly around 14 US dollars a month, but I can tell you with the amount of financial content we put out and all the other content, plus the CTT group and the live shows that I'm going to start doing again, if we can ever get over this COVID. Yeah, it's you're getting your money's worth.
So we're going to bring in Thich Nhat Hanh, who passed away, I believe, about a year ago or so. And he was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. He's very famous in Buddhism, and bringing Buddhism to the West. So I think he might be, someone, because he's passed on and he's, he's been a spiritual teacher. He might be someone that could be good at guiding us.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can you grab Thich Nhat Hanh?
I can. I have him here. He's excited to be here.
Welcome. All right. I'm excited to have him here. So we're going to probe the mind wipe phenomena. So for those of you that are familiar with, the reincarnation cycle, or that idea of having that we come down and it is kind of studied that the people that do study reincarnation, they notice that young children may have the best chance to recall memories from past lives. And can we ask, actually, I'm just going to get a question here now with Thich Nhat Hanh. Why is it that young children can remember more of their past lives?
Why is it young children can remember more of their past lives? Because they're closer to that realm. They're new. They've just come down. Now, interestingly, I also remember my past lives when I was a kid. Okay.
And normally when they study this, it's usually around the time the child starts going to school that those memories start going away. And so I've always wondered, is the curriculum at our schools kind of beating that out of us, like our imagination and our ability to even paranormal, also kids have, I think, more of affinity to see paranormal phenomenon as well, and that all seems to kind of go away at the school age. So is that by age, or is it a coincidence, or is school kind of brainwashing that out of us in a way?
What happens is when we go to school, our brains start to become structured in a much different way. So we're becoming structured by society at that point. or any type of school setting. Um,
So,
mhm.
so what if we had a less structured education system where, like a more homeschooling, but not like a curriculum like a standard curriculum. Even in homeschool, there's a standard curriculum, right? So what if it was a more free kind of learning experience? Would we retain that information longer?
No,
Mm, okay.
because the brain is now having to absorb structured information, right? So as a child, you're not really absorbing that type of information. You are free to explore, free to roam. You are thinking about the world. You are trying to understand the order of the world, particularly, with like grass and seeds and insects and animals and things like that. And it's when you have that sense of wonder that you start to really know that you were once these things or you had these past lives.
Mm,
You talk to spirit, you have visitations from loved ones in spirit, um, people that you've possibly never even met. And then what happens is you start saying, okay, now somebody else is in charge of the learning. So whereas you were in charge of your own learning at that time, I mean, obviously you learn other things as well. Parents teach you, manners, sit at the table, all that stuff, right? Be nice and be friends and but we're talking about just that sense of wonder. And then it becomes more of a controlled learning, and you don't that sense of wonder starts to fade at when you have a more controlled environment.
mm.
That's
So,
what's going.
okay, is there like in our normal, like before technology, would we have maintained like, cultures that are, Aboriginal cultures, for instance, they kind of maintain that wonder, I would say, more, and they're more connected with the environment and with the magic that happens in nature and just the magical nature of nature. It's kind of their consciousness level is I would say, I would assume that it's more at that level consistently through life. So maybe that's what I'm asking is if you were to live a hunter gatherer life, or with the original kind of cultures that we all had, the tribal culture intact, would we retain more of that information?
No,
Okay.
no, because you have to lose that information in order to be who you're supposed to be in this lifetime.
Mm. All right. So now we're getting to the answers to the questions that we're asking. Why do we have the mind wipe? So that's one answer. In order to be the people that we're supposed to be in this lifetime, we cannot have access to that information.
That's correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Let's get into some listener questions here, and I'll jump in with my own as we go. What's the purpose for Akashic records if we can't use those past experiences here on Earth?
Oh, what's the purpose of the Akashic records if we can't use it? It's just basically it's an ascension encyclopedia of your life, right? Really, when we check into the Akashic records, we're not asking the right questions, he says. The questions that we should be asking are at which point did I achieve some sort of ascension? Which lifetime would be associated with that and why,
Mm,
right? And going forward, which point, because you can see some future things in the Akashic records. I've seen it myself.
mm.
So going forward, what is it that I need to know that caused me to, or my soul to ascend?
Right. And
We
and
don't do that. We don't do that. We're too busy stuck in the 3D, like, oh, can you go forward 2 weeks and see if I'm still dating the same guy that, or can you go back and see if I had a past life with this person?
Mm.
Yes, those are relevant in some ways to understand the connection and the relationship, of course. But what he is saying, because this guy is on a very deep level, he's saying you need to look into your ascension.
Okay, so the thought that I had there when he was speaking, giving us that information is we're even with the CTT, we're looking for those like residues that are very powerful, that are negative, that are kind of patterns that are repeating themselves throughout the lifetimes and healing those, which is good. But I think what maybe he's saying is that we can also look to the times that we've ascended, those like those top points, and then find out those resonating residues that could possibly happen within this lifetime and tune into those.
Right.
So
So what worked, Because
yeah.
this is what I've been finding out. I mean, through the CTT process. And for those of you that don't know what the CTT process is, I suggest you get familiar because it is growing exponentially at the moment. It's only a matter of time, and I know this. It's only a matter of time before it takes off, and it may not even be available to mainstream. I know that just from my own experience, and I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, I can just tell you what I see coming is that the Hollywood A-listers, and I said it on another video, they're picking it up. Now, once that crowd starts picking it up, they're going to price it out of the mainstream. And, they're very competitive people out there. And they realize that the CTT gives them that edge that otherwise people just don't have. So, yes, what I do know from probing and doing all these CTT sessions is the soul goes with what it knows.
Mm.
But let's ask this question. So if we go back into the Akashic records and we're asking, show me a point of ascension where we had this massive enlightenment here on the earth plane, do we actually repeat that lesson again? There you go. No.
Okay, but can you ask him if is there a benefit to using CTT to tune into those ascension points to resonate with that? Is there any benefit to like resonate with it to in this lifetime? Like, is there a benefit to that?
Is there any benefit for CTT to tune in and resonate on the ascension points? Yes, because you want to bring that ascension. Now, this is new to me, and we'll have to remember this. Ascension vibration, that feeling into your current lifetime.
Yeah. So I
To
think that's
say, sorry, to give the soul like, hey, you've done this before. You can do it again. Remember how you felt when you got there? Because our souls get so tired. They're weary. I mean, once they've been fighting the battle over and over in many lifetimes, they get to the point where sometimes they just want to give up. It's not working. We can't find a way out. We keep recreating it. We're so hopeful before we come down here, but when we get here, we just can't seem to find our way through.
all right.
So,
Well, you're gonna have to consult with George on this also, maybe.
yes, absolutely. So, but certainly with the CTT, for those of you that do not know, what we look for is the point of trauma where the souls fragment in the previous lifetime.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's get through some of these questions. I've got that written down in my notes. Are we able to request that we keep some of our memories when we are writing out our contracts? So when we're talking to the programmer, I guess.
Oh, okay. So some people may not know what the programmer is because
Right.
a lot of this information is held in our CTT group, and that's every Monday, 9 a.m. Central. If you're not there, you're missing out. Um, so the programmer, do you program in the mind wipe? Yes, it's essential. That's part of the programming.
Okay, so you cannot sidestep that by writing it into your contract that you will remember certain things.
Ooh, can we slide that into the contract that we remember certain things? I have to ask this question. How come I can? Because I'm psychic. Okay. Um, but can other people? Not normally. No, because it's about letting go of what was and working on what is.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So we have another question from a person who is a healer themselves, and they would like to know if it would be beneficial to them as a healer to keep the gift to help others in their next soul contract. So I guess maybe I didn't say that correctly. So I guess the gift would be, can the gift of remembering your past lives to help others in their next soul contract. So I guess they're asking, like, in the next lifetime, wouldn't it be beneficial if they're a healer again to have that ability to see back?
Um, would it be beneficial to have that ability again? According to the Buddhist, yes, right? But you would have to look, if you spend so much time uncovering your past lives, you wouldn't have time to live the life you're currently living because we've had so many. I mean, just not even human lifetimes. So many is like even amoeba or in the star system, the solar system, volcanoes in the ocean, on land. I mean, we've just had so many. You wouldn't be able to function in this lifetime if you're just constantly tapping into the previous lifetimes. Now, as far as like a healer goes, are they asking whether, if they wanted to be a healer in the next lifetime, which by the way, whoever's asking that question, I'm getting a no, you won't be a healer in the next lifetime. Um, but it's not so much about the healer's past lives, it's more about the person you're working on, their past lives.
Mm, right. Yeah, maybe that's what they meant. Like seeing other people's past lives. That would be a huge gift. And to some degree, that's what you're doing, I guess,
That's what
using
I do.
CTT.
Yeah. But we structure it in such a way that it's a protocol, right?
Well,
Whereas QHHT, BQH, hypnotherapy, you basically are going in and you're pulling up all kinds of stuff, and it may not even be your own past life. It's a free for all when you start going into hypnotherapy. So the CTT, the past life regression technique that I do, is highly controlled. It's a very, very controlled protocol. Whereas if you're going under hypnotherapy, it may be that you're talking to aliens, you could be talking to ancestors, you could be tapping into somebody else. And then even if you do so, you're then asking Archangel Michael to come down and fix it all. That really, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
yeah. All right. Have there been human souls that have attempted to come in with a lot more memories? Did it work out for them?
So do we carry our memories with us? So we actually carry these memories within us. It's about trying to find where they're located.
Hmm. Okay. And if someone was successful in doing that, would that be beneficial for them, or would that be like information overload?
It depends how you use it. it can be extremely beneficial because it helps you understand that this life is not the be all and end all.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, this is a very long question, which I think I have to
Okay,
summarize
let's break it down into
in
small
real
pieces.
time. Okay, so this person is well, they're stating that they have a memory they have always believed that they carried over with me from lifetime to lifetime. They remember not wanting to leave and be born, I guess the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this memory that there was happiness there, but they knew the life would be hard going forward. Um, but I was talked into it by a young boy. I guess this is in the spirit realm.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it was my brother who passed the year before I was born, and he wanted me to be born so that he could be born as my son. Interesting. I have
Mm-hmm.
discussed with several mediums, and they have confirmed this. My son is wonderful, and we have always had a great relationship. He came into this world ready for a wonderful life. One medium that I had several sessions with, which also told me that this child, which is my grandchild, is the soul of my maternal grandmother. My
Mm-hmm.
son and the brother that passed have similar names. They both start with the same letter, end with the same letter. They both include four letters. Also, the brother died on my grandmother's birthday. My son was born when I was 25 years old. I also remember being I also remember being born. I have always believed with no doubt that heaven or the other side exists and it's a wonderful place. It would be interesting to get Liz's thoughts on this or her to do a mind probe. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Love you, Liz.
Oh, so for this one, that's extremely interesting. I also remember um being up there, but I wanted to come down, right? I couldn't wait to come down. I was so excited and I just was like, woohoo, yes. And now in this lifetime, I get to be their daughter and they're going to be my parents. So that is very significant that obviously there's a lot of role reversal going on. We all swap roles. We're rotating as a soul family in and out of here. Now, for this person, yes, that is correct about your son. And that is also correct about your grandmother. Now, what is unique about your situation is you always try to keep one foot in the spirit world. And that's probably due to your hesitancy coming down here, right? You're one of those people that has one foot up there. And so you're sort of half in, half out. And each soul is very, very unique in that way. We come across all kinds of different souls. In fact, there's one soul in particular that I'm working with right now that has done the reincarnation game so many times. He gave up on it thousands of lifetimes ago. He says, hey, you guys can play this game if you want to, but I'm not signing up to this. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to stay in the spirit world indefinitely if you're still in this reincarnation cycle of your soul life, and you will get kicked out of the spirit world to come back down. But make of it what you will. This person, they've come down and they're doing like literally the bare minimum. And they've actually set it up in such a way physically that they can't do more than that
Right.
right now. So each soul is unique. That's why it's important to tap in on an individual soul level to find out what your experiences are. What is it that you need to know? Who are you actually? And what are the patterns that you're bringing forward that are so unhealthy? Why are you rotating in and out with the same soul family over and over and over again? And you guys seem to be going nowhere.
Mm.
But
All right, Liz. Oh, sorry. Do you have more?
no, no, no. If you had the memory of when you're up there making the contracts, like, I love you so much, I'm going to be your worst enemy, I'm going to be so horrific to you, and you're just going to grow, and you're going to be successful, and we're just going to make it work this time, right? So you get down here and your parent is horrendous.
Yeah.
And but if you remember that actually my parent loves me and we made these contracts because of that, well, the human experience is going to be watered down, right? You're just going to be,
Right.
yeah, okay, this is the role we're playing.
Right.
That's why we have that mind wipe.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to get the full benefit of the lesson if
Mm.
you knew that it was just a game, for lack of a better term, or you knew it was just like
Mm-hmm.
a play that was being, played out, or a script.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's take this over to the Discord and Patreon for our members. We thank you all for being here with us, and we're going to continue on the other side. So, once again, how can people access all the wonderful videos we have for our members?
Oh my goodness, we have so many. Patreon.com/ remote viewing and beyond. And how many approximate questions do you have for to continue on to the mind wipe? Because we're just really just scraping the surface at the moment.
Yeah, we got a few more, but I also have my own questions too.
Oh, oh, of course you do, Mr. Photon, and your questions are always brilliant. All right, so hopefully, guys, we'll see you on the flip side. Just remember, this channel is not monetized. YouTube does not want to monetize psychics and mediums and woo woo, and it's too much. They can't handle the mind probes. They can't handle it, folks. So, this is why we have to put stuff behind the paywall. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Liz.